Dream big, they said. Well, I certainly did. When I was 13 years of age, I dreamt I was going to score the winning goal in the FA Cup final for Coventry City in injury time. Now, I've not achieved that yet, but picture me as a 13-year-old boy, 6'4", towering above my school friends, but desperately trying to shrink into the background. Until my mum noticed it one day, and she asked me what I was doing. She introduced me to a famous quote, often attributed to the famous Dr. Seuss. Why blend in when you were born to stand out? And she was right. From that day forward, I was going to stand out. It was going to be about me. I wanted to be the person that scored the winning goals. I wanted to be the main actor in our school productions. It made no difference to me that I wasn't very good at football. It made no difference to me that I wasn't very good at acting either. However, I do still have a trophy for being the best back end of a donkey that my junior school has ever had. But it's fascinating really, isn't it? Because isn't that how society shapes us? Isn't that how we tell our children to behave? Dr. Seuss, famous children's author, tells our children to be visible, stand out, dream big. But what if there was another way of reframing that journey before we achieve those things we're destined for in the future? What if actually the magic happens when we turn me upside down into we? Ubuntu is a Zulu word popularized by Nelson Mandela and Archbishop Desmond Tutu, which when translated means, I am because you are. I am because you are really means, thank you. I recognize your contribution because I am only able to do my job because you are doing yours so well. Now, in case you were wondering, I never did sign for Coventry City, but instead, at the age of 16, I signed for Leicester Tigers and changed over to play rugby union. And I suppose that's when I really started to learn about teamwork. That's when I really started to learn about the importance of me and how that fit into we. Now, having had the privilege to play in such amazing teams, I've noticed there are some themes and characters and roles that cross all of them. And I'm going to share just 4 of those with you today. And whilst I'm talking, I'd like you to think about which one most resonates with you. Starting with the cornerstone. Now, the cornerstone character is someone that, in the team, sets the foundation for the team that all great teams are built upon. Now, in our team, that was Darren Garforth. Darren's a tight head prop. He's about 5'8" tall and quite possibly about 5'8" wide as well. He has a unique skill set and a high tolerance for pain is one of them. Now, poor old Darren, it's not a very glamorous role. In fact, he probably has never won player of the match in his whole life. But if Darren doesn't play, we can't win. Thinking about foundations, when you walked into this amazing theatre earlier on today, how many of us walked in and looked around and went, wow, strong foundations? We don't, because we can't see them. Similar to the role of a cornerstone. Often invisible until they're not there. And that makes me think of my mum, really, and the role that she plays in our family. Often invisible until she's not there. Now, all great teams need a cornerstone figure, but a team full of cornerstones wins nothing at all. So moving on to the second one, the worker bee. Now, we all know these types of people. In fact, you may be sat there now thinking that this is you. Busy, 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 running around at 100 miles per hour. They're the people that just get stuff done. Now, in our team, that was Neil Back, open side flanker. He is the fittest player on the team, relentless in his pursuit of excellence to make sure we convert all the hard work that the cornerstone does, and it passes out to all the more creative players outside wider in the team. Now, Neil puts his body on the line every single time he plays. In fact, it might not become a surprise to you to know that he's got the club record for the most stitches in his body. Over 300 stitches throughout his career on his body. But what might be a surprise is knowing that over 150 of those were just from his shoulder to the top of his head. That goes a long way to showing you the type of stuff that Neil did with his body and his head to ensure that the team was successful and he did his role successfully. Now, Neil can't do the work of the cornerstone and vice versa. Every great team needs a worker bee, but a team full of worker bees alone wouldn't win anything at all. Now, as a boy, I wanted to be the star, the general that made all the calls. But in our team, that was Austin Healy, the fly half. Now, as you can tell, he has not got any records of stitches on his face. In fact, any sign of confrontation, he'd run and hide behind the cornerstone, or the worker bee, or anyone else for that matter. But that's okay. He had a different skill set. He was our general. He made the big calls, often scanning the landscape to make sure what we were doing was going according to plan. And if it wasn't, make small or big changes, knowing that he'd earned the trust and the respect of the team that we would follow him through. Now, it's pretty clear that he can't do the role of those other two. Every great team needs a general, but a team full of generals wouldn't win anything at all. So now you can see my predicament. Where do I fit in? How do I add value to this team? We've got the cornerstone over here that does work that I can't do. I've got the worker bee over here that does work that I don't want to do. And we've got the general doing work that I want to do, but apparently he's better at it than me. Well, here I am, flying through the air. But I'll let you into a little secret. That picture has nothing to do with this talk whatsoever. It's my favorite photo, and I just want to share it with you. Let's not forget, today is all about me. Joking aside, that's me. I'm the finisher. My role in this team is to finish and convert all the hard work my teammates do into points. As you can probably tell, my kit's the cleanest at the end of the match. My ears are still attached. My nose still loosely resembles a nose. And thankfully, all the blood remains safely within my veins. This picture is taken in the European Cup final, the Champions League of rugby, if you like. Leicester Tigers are playing against the star-studded Stade Francais away at the Parc des Princes. 60,000 people in the stadium, millions of people on TV watching. This was my stage, but this time without a donkey costume in sight. What could go wrong? I'd like you to think back to when you last achieved something huge, momentous that you can remember. And whilst you're thinking about that, also think about those people, either directly or indirectly, that contributed to that success. And were they aware of their contributions and how that made you feel? See, what I've learned is very, very rarely are great things achieved by individuals alone, and it's usually a combination of great teamwork. I'd like to share an example of what I mean by that.
Because there's not long to go. Now can Leicester pull something special out here? Ben Kay got knocked out of the line out. Neil Back was the man who fed it. There's a marvellous break by the scrum half Healy. Outside to Lloyd. Lloyd has scored his second try. What a magnificent effort. Leicester couldn't have done better.
That deserves to win the match for Leicester.
Absolute brilliant that. Lloyd the scorer, his second try. Referee's whistle goes for the end of the match. And Leicester have won a pulsating contest. A great day for Liam Lloyd, who scored two lovely tries. There you are, a wonderful scene. Leicester, the European champions.
Well, that was my day. That was the day when I realized my dream. I scored the winning try for my club in the European Cup final in injury time. Champagne was flying everywhere. I was being lifted in the air. It was an amazing day. But I have a question for you. Normally reserved for the captain, it's his honor, it's his privilege. He's our leader. Who lifted the trophy in that video? The club's biggest game in its history. Was it the general who broke through the middle last minute of the game, go for glory, set up a perfect try? Or was it me, the finisher? When I realized he'd gone through, all I had to do was just catch up with him relatively easily, then catch the ball, put it down in the corner, and then score. Take all the credit. And I've been doing so ever since. Well, some of you may have noticed, it was neither of us. Because what we realize and what we recognize as a team, and certainly our captain in his leadership traits, there's accumulation of everyone's efforts. What the thousands of people in that stadium and the millions of people on TV may not have known is that moments before I got my chance to live out my dream and score that try, the cornerstone secured the ball under intense pressure and got injured in the process. The worker bee had to step in following a breakdown in communication, had to pass the ball out. Wasn't his job, stepped in to do it. The general, what he did there was not according to plan. That was not the play. He went off-piste, knowing that that decision he made, if he'd got it wrong, could have cost us the match, but had the courage to do it anyway. So really, I had the easiest job. All I had to do was catch the ball and put it down. You see, what we realized as a team that there are many players that did not get mentioned in the headlines following that, because it's always about the visible people. I asked you at the beginning to think about what role most resonates with you, as I talked earlier on. But I suppose the most important question is, can you recognize the roles of other members within your teams? Can we collectively shine a light on the invisible team members and say to them, we see you, we value you and your contribution? Because if they don't turn up, then none of us win. See, when I was a 13-year-old boy, it was about me and having the spotlight shined on me. But when I'd experienced real success with my team, I realized the joy and the pleasure you get from turning that spotlight around and shining a light on other people's contributions and their efforts. So bring it back to Ubuntu. I am only here today on this impressive stage because you are allowing me this platform to share this very important story. And for that, I say thank you.